All right, let's go get some cucumbers for our pickling adventure today. Wow, this one's huge. This one is not gonna be Pickles. We're gonna need some little ones for Pickles. Oh my goodness. See, this one is a good size for pickles. Maybe even a little bit smaller. But I like them to still be like bumpy, not smooth, like not fully grown. Wow, some of these pickles, cucumbers, I really let go too long. These are huge. Here's another massive one. All right, here's our giant bucket of cucumbers. And all of these cucumbers are only from 3 cucumber plants. So you don't need to have a ton of cucumber plants to have a huge harvest. So I tried to make fermented pickles and I thought they would just stay under, that I didn't need to buy the weights to keep them under, and blah, did not work. So I'm gonna order those fancy weights for keeping the pickles down under the liquid so that we don't have this happen again. So today we are gonna try a different form of pickling that is not fermented and see how that works. Just because these pickles did not turn out exactly the way I wanted them to does not mean that this is a total fail. This is still a learning experience. This is still something new that I tried, so that is still a win, because every time you try something new, even if it fails, at least you tried. And I learned a valuable lesson about having the proper equipment when you're going to use a recipe that requires special equipment, and not try to do it thinking it's gonna be fun without the equipment. They do smell like pickles and they look like pickles, but unfortunately these pickles are going to be chicken food and we're gonna have to try to start over. Wanna try some pickles? What do you think? It's good? Must be good. This is my all-time favorite cookbook. It has not only amazing recipes in here, it has guidelines for storing your food in the freezer, for canning, hot water bath canning, pressure canning, how to make pickles and jams and jellies and tomatoes and everything. This is really great. So we're going to be using a recipe from this Betty Crocker cookbook today for pickles. All right, our first step in making these pickles is going to be to prepare our cans. We're going to wash them in hot soapy water and our lids and then sterilize them. We're going to sterilize these in the oven at 350 degrees for 10 minutes and then just keep them warm in the oven until we're ready to use them. All right, we're getting our cucumbers prepared by cutting off the ends of each side, and our mason jars are cleaned. They're about to go in and get sterilized. Let me get the rest of these cucumbers chopped up. All right, our jars are in the oven. The lids are in a pot sterilizing. We've got our canning supplies ready to go. We're gonna start making the brine here. All right, we've got 7.5 cups of water, 5 cups of vinegar, and then we're gonna do a 1/2 cup plus 2 tablespoons of non-iodized salt. 1, 2, all right, let's give that a good stir, and we're gonna heat that up. So a really cool thing about some of my canning jars is that these are actually from my grandmother. I actually have some canning jars that were my great-grandmother's. They're this beautiful blue glass. I haven't used them because they're really sentimental to me, and I'd be really sad if anything happened to them. But canning is really special to me. It makes me feel like I'm close to my grandma who lives far away because I love her very much. And it's nice to be able to share something like this down the generational line. So our brine is almost ready. We need to very quickly pack these jars and have them ready for when this brine is hitting the boiling point. We're going to put 2 garlic cloves in each jar. And I'm going to do 1 teaspoon of dill in each jar also. All right, we're going to pack our cucumbers in. We're going to try to fit as much into these jars as we can. You want to pack it tight. Ooh, these jars are hot. These bigger cucumbers are a little hard to fit. I think that's all I'm going to be able to fit in there. The first time you can, it's going to feel daunting and overwhelming, and like there's so many steps to take. But once you do it a few times, it's going to come like second nature to you. So just make sure that you have everything ready to go, that you know the process before you start, and that you feel like you have all the ingredients that you need to get started before you do it for the first time. Maybe even have a friend come over and help you do it. Then you'll have a buddy if you need to switch off to watch the kids if they need something while you're in the middle of timing the canning process. All right, our jars are all in. We're going to lower this into the water and we're gonna start heating it up. When it starts boiling, we will start our timer. I need to add a little bit more water because we need the water to be 1 to 2 inches above the jars. So I have one extra jar that didn't fit into my canner, so I'm gonna put this one right into the fridge, leave it sit for a couple days, and then we can try it out and see how it is. All right, our water is now boiling. We're gonna start our timer for 10 minutes. All right, our 10 minutes is just about up. Timer's gonna go off in a second here. All right. Ouch. So now we are going to very carefully remove our jars and set them over here on our towel. I like to try to keep them as low as possible so if they do slip out of the grip, that they're not gonna fall as far. Crash everywhere. All right, this is the last one. And then a little tip, don't leave your tray in the water, it will rust. Make sure you take your tray out so that it will dry, because if you don't, it will get rusty in the water in the pan. And then here are our beautiful pickles. We're gonna let these sit. You're going to look for these lids to depress. You won't be able to pop them in if they are properly sealed. And then once they are cooled, we'll take the rings off, put the date on the top, and they're good to go. We are gonna be making some kombucha today too. So first I'm getting my tea made, and then I'm going to get my kombucha bottled up, and then once the tea is cool, we'll pour it in to make fresh new kombucha. All right, so when you're making your kombucha, you can either just bottle your kombucha right into your bottles, or you can add fresh fruit and let it do a second ferment and get really fizzy. You can do juice and let it get really fizzy. My favorite is to put fresh strawberries in there, but today I am going to put some cranberry juice in my bottles. And I am not going to do a second ferment with these ones because it's a little bit overdone right now, and I don't want it to be too tart and bitter. So we're just put a little bit of juice in there, and then here's my one kombucha jar. I really like having the spout at the bottom. It's very helpful to bottle instead of having to scoop it out. When I first started kombucha, I just had a plain gallon jar with no spout, and I just had to use a ladle to scoop out the kombucha, and it was a mess. So this is very convenient. So this one I've actually been drinking off of. I probably will need to split this SCOBY soon. You can see how big it is in here. It takes up almost half the jar. So I'm gonna leave this one for now and grab out my other kombucha jar to do these other 3 bottles. I actually have one more jar that I would really like to get started. I need to order a metal spout for it. You don't want to have a plastic spout. So I need to order the metal spout, and then I can split that SCOBY and start another kombucha jar, because we really like kombucha. It's a really nice drink on a hot summer day when you're working outside in the garden. And it's great probiotic. So you can see how this emptied out. So we are going to let the tea cool, and then once the tea is cool, we're going to pour it in through the top, and that will be our fresh tea for the SCOBY to eat and then turn into kombucha. All right, our tea is cooled down, and we're going to put the fresh tea into the kombucha jar so that the SCOBY can turn it into kombucha. I'd love to know what other kinds of fermented foods that you guys make. Fermented foods are so good for you. Yeah. All right, and we're just gonna set this over out of the sunlight. I usually keep my kombuchas wrapped in towel to make sure there's no light getting in there. I can kind of tell at this point when my kombucha is ready by the color. When you first put your tea in, it's a really dark color, and as the SCOBY eats the sugar and the caffeine and turns it into kombucha, it will turn into a lighter color. And the lighter it is, the more tart it's gonna be, more strong. And one of the reasons why I love having these spouts on here like this is because I can just get out a little bit in a cup, give it a little taste, and see if it's ready to bottle up or drink fresh. I'm gonna get some bread made up. Look at this beautiful dough ball. I'm gonna split this into 2 loaves and get it shaped up. This is a trick that I have learned that makes your bread crust super soft and makes the bread really, really good. I'll link below the person that I found this really cool tip from. Fermented foods are so good for you. It's good for you to have probiotics in your system. I hope this helps encourage you to try something new, try some fermented foods, and let me know what you tried and how you liked it and the recipes that you enjoyed or didn't enjoy. See you later. Bye.